Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Locatz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page. And today is Sunday, June 24th. And we're going to be doing the card draw for today and sharing about the information from the card draw. And I'm using the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams, and have been since beginning of May. And so, hey, Elise. Hello, Mary S. Mary, I call you Mary S because we have several Marys that join us, and so I just want to make sure I get the right person, you know. And Allie's here too. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good Sunday morning. Do you guys have like a Sunday morning kind of ritual kind of thing at your house? We do here. And of course, it kind of revolves around Mom. Not every Sunday, but probably at least one Sunday a month, if not two. Every Sunday, we go and get Mom her Sunday paper, the Milwaukee Sentinel, and we pick up donuts at least once or twice a month. Those donuts come in the house. And Mom has a cup of coffee with her donut or half a donut actually, and she starts to read the Sunday paper. Me, I have the cup of coffee and the other half of her donut. and it's kind of usually kind of a slower morning. That's Sunday usually. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Mary saying hello. Lisa saying hello. Mary Ann says hello too. Hello, Mary Ann. Good morning to you. So today's Sunday. Yay. Sundays are actually one of my favorite days. And it has more to do with the feeling of kind of laid back, right? So, and it's been that way forever, it seems like. Although I have to admit, most days of the week are pretty much the same. But when it gets to Sunday, yeah, laid back. And it's a beautiful day here in Tomah, Wisconsin. We have sunshine, and it's higher 60s. We're supposed to have thunderstorms this afternoon, though. I kind of can't wait. I love thunderstorms. We have a card that we've had before, but we didn't really talk a lot about it. This is what came up this morning. Dreamtime, unlimited vision. I spent a long time shuffling cards this morning, shuffling, and more shuffling. I wanted to make sure that they were nice and mixed up, and waiting for my spiritual team to kick out the card that was meant for us today. And it was Dreamtime. Now, we've had this card before. And I was looking at the artwork, and I know there's the image of a warrior, a native man, and you can see kind of like smoke or something rising from him, and I believe that is his spirit in Dreamtime. And what's in the center, of course, has all the colors of the medicine wheel, but it has shapes of items that are associated with his Dreamtime. And I'm not sure exactly what all the shapes mean. And the blue ring around it, those shapes, to me signified the blue road, the spirit road, right? Yeah. And so when I reread the information from Jamie Sams regarding the card, she talks about sleep time and the sleep time dreams. There's one part that I don't agree with her. Yeah. I think that's the only time I've ever disagreed with what she's written. And that is what she calls a dream that doesn't make sense. And we've all had those. It's like you were in one place and the next thing you know, you were in another place. It's kind of disjointed and you can't make heads or tails of it. It doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. She says that in the Choctaw tradition, those kinds of dreams are called no account, or giveaway dreams, that they don't mean anything. And I beg to differ. I do believe that those particular kinds of dreams during sleep time are our subconscious way of dealing with emotions over the time frame, whether it's that same day that you experience something, or it could be something that you experienced a few days before and it's kind of stuck with you. I believe it's our subconscious, or as in psychology they call the subconscious the inner child, is working things out. So I think that they have value, and they do count, is what I'm trying to say. That they do count, even though our logical mind doesn't understand it, and we try to put it into some sort of logical flow and order, rather than looking at the symbolism and the emotions, right? So that's the one piece that kind of jumped out this morning. Mm-hmm. And Terry Rule is here too. Hello, Terry. Elise says, it's my favorite day, going to splurge and have Hungry Howie's tonight. Hungry Howie's? What is Hungry Howie's? We don't have that in Wisconsin. What's Hungry Howie's? Elisa says, oh my God, my dreams or nightmares are horrible. Never much sleep for me. Yeah, sometimes that happens. She also says, or the blue could signify nighttime. That's true. That could be true. But how Jamie Sams writes about the blue road is the spirit road. And what I do like about what she wrote about this card is that she does help us to understand the difference between a sleep time dream and a dreamtime vision. Okay. And the dreamtime vision is when we consciously know that our physical body is at rest and our spirit travels, leaves our physical body and goes to a parallel dimension. Okay. So it's not necessarily, the travel could be to what's considered the middle world, which is this world. But even within the middle world, there is another dimension. All right. And with spirit dimension. And in those parallel worlds, we seek information. Our spirit seeks information. That's why we go there, to bring that information back to our physical life. And I think she does a really good job in explaining that. That there is a difference between when we go to bed and we go to sleep and our physical body is at rest, and to be able to recharge the physical body, right? And in those sleep time dreams, that is when I do believe, and this is where my psychology formal education kicks in, is where we play out and figure out our emotional issues. And sometimes that's where those nightmares come from. The night terrors are something a little bit different, but I think that's where we play out our emotional issues. Yeah, I also think, because it's true for me. Maybe I'm projecting this, but the night sweats. When you start menopause, right? And you wake up and you're drenched, or you can tell that you're hot. You're having a hot flash, and then the sweat starts, right? I believe that we get those at night during our sleep time because our emotional bodies are playing out those situations in our life. And emotions trigger the hot flashes for many of us. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents about sleep time. But getting back to dream time, the dream time is when the physical body is at rest. It's not necessarily asleep. It's the physical body is kind of in between the sleep and awake. We know we can hear things that are going on around us, but we're not consciously a part of that, right? It's the in-between time. It's the in-between time. Oh, Elise says, awesome pizza and three cheese garlic bread. Yay, carb up. Sounds good. Sounds really, really good. What are we doing for lunch? We are, my mom, speaking of dream time or sleep time, and this is, I believe in her case, is a dream time situation, is that I have a grandpa, a great uncle, some of you guys would consider him. He was my Misho, my grandfather's brother. And so that would have been my mom's uncle. Okay. And he walked on years and years and years and years ago. I want to say it was like 74, I think, 1974 or 73, something like that. And she had a dream about him. And in that dream, there was food involved. And in our tradition, in the Potawatomi tradition, when we have somebody who has passed on, walked on, and they come to us in dream time, and there's a meal or food involved with it, that they're asking to be fed. The spirit is asking to be fed. And so in our tradition, it's called a ghost meal. And a ghost meal is, in our tradition, is a meal that the spirit, when they were human, in the human body, would have enjoyed. And we share bits of that food along with tobacco. It's a ceremony. And depending on the tradition, the Potawatomi, we put it in a sacred fire, the food and the tobacco into a sacred fire. In the Ho-Chunk tradition, it's put up high, like, in branches of a tree, or a lot of times people will put it up in the eave trough, the downspouts kind of thing. And so it's up on high. So the spirit would be able to take the food, the essence of the food and the tobacco to be fed. And so she had this dream about my grandfather, Buck. I think his real name was Frank. Yeah, Frank. Everybody called him Uncle Buck or Frank, Grandpa Buck, but his real name was Frank. So I'm making Grandpa Buck a meal at lunch, and we're going to do a ghost meal for him. So it's special. It's special, that's for sure. But we do it often enough that it's just a part of your preparation of a meal. Knowing that the meal is going to be meant for a spirit, right? That's our tradition. So that's going to be lunch. What am I? I'm making a rice and hamburger dish, and something that he enjoyed. And so we're going to do that, and we have a little bit of probably some ice cream or something for dessert. Actually, it's frozen yogurt because most of us can't do much of the dairy. So anyway, that was something that happened to my mom during dream time, and this was days ago. It wasn't sleep time; it was dream time, and the dream time traveling that we do. Many times we do that without being consciously aware that we're traveling. It's not until somebody sits down and we have a conversation about it that people go, "Oh, really? That's what that was? Huh." And many times there's no limitations in a Dreamtime vision, meaning that you can walk through walls, you can fly, things that you can't do in a physical body, you can do in a Dreamtime. So any of you who've ever had dreams where you felt like you were flying, did any of you ever have any one of those? Yeah. Yeah, when I was very young, I used to have those a lot. And coming, and I could feel myself. I could see the house. I was at the treetop level. Like, we had these old oak trees. And seeing the house from the treetop, and coming back into my body, and always hearing this. It was a sound, a whooshing, like air, when it's going through a tube or something like that. Is what I'd hear, and then I would come back into my body. And those are the kind of dreams I'm going, what was that? What was that about? And then at our house, in my parents' house when I was growing up, it wasn't all that odd for us to sit around the breakfast table and talk about our dreams. Talking about the feeling like we're at the treetops, and as you're coming down back into your body, it kind of feels like a roller coaster ride. When you could do that dip, it's kind of like that for me. And I remember when my mom said, "Oh, you're traveling." It's like, what does that mean? And so sometimes you don't really realize it, that you're doing that, because you're not intentionally going somewhere, right? It's not until I think that we really understand the concept and realizing that we've already done this, and there's a way to be able to intentionally go someplace and come back intentionally. So dream time. Oh, and Elisa is saying, I cook every day, so pizza is a treat. I need to know if I travel at night, my nighttime is not fun. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean about the cooking every day. So it's so when we get the break from the cooking, the planning of the meal, and trying to figure out what to have, and what the person that we're like with mom, what can she actually have? So us to grill out a steak, that would mean that Paul would be doing most of the cooking, right? Because I'm not really good at grilling, never have been, and so. But she doesn't do steak because it's too hard for her to digest and to chew and all that. So we have to plan things around that. If Paul and I are going to have steak, then I make sure that we make hamburgers for mom or something like that. So it's always this extra step of planning. And so you're right, Elise, when we get the chance to be able to go someplace and just relax and let somebody else take care of it, it's a treat. It really is. And, figuring out your dream time, or your sleep time, can be very, very helpful, can be very insightful. I have a good friend of mine, Donna Thompson. She really does believe in journaling all her dreams. And she has many, many journals because she's been doing this for many, many years. And what she does is she goes back and rereads, like last year's or 3 years ago. She'll start randomly reading, the content of those dreams, and realizing that, oh, that's what that was about. Because you have a little insight or hindsight, I guess would be a good way to put it, to say, oh, that's what that was about, and put it into an understanding. And so what she writes about all of her dreams. So those dreams that are so disjointed and you don't really know, or the ones where, Have you ever had the dreams about being shot at, being hurt like that, and you're trying to force yourself to wake up, right? And what is that? There's an old wives' tale about you never dream about your own death. And once you understand that those sleep time dreams are working out your emotions, and there comes when you're really tuned into your dreams and watching them and aware of them, there's times within your dream that you realize consciously, you make the conscious link. It's like, oh, this is a dream. Let me go back and redo that piece. And you put a different ending onto it, right? That can actually happen. You can actually do that. Now, when it's a dream time and your spirit is traveling, you don't put a different ending on that, because your spirit is actually traveling to another dimension to get information, to have an experience over there, wherever there is. And so many times you meet your teachers, your guides, in those dream time excursions when your spirit is leaving. That's when many times that we receive our spiritual gifts. Like, for me, it was the medicine dress and the drum and the pipe. And those are the dreams that they feel so real, and they make logical sense. They have a progression to them. And those are the ones that you can recall even years later in detail and with the corresponding emotions. Those are the ones that that hold a great deal of meaning for you. And sometimes those are the ones that can be also prophetic as well. Jamie writes about how in modern day we are so busy, and we don't take the time to learn how and to master the Dreamtime travel, that many times the Dreamtime spirit travel happens during our sleep time. They're kind of overlapping. And so some of those dreams that you call dreams are really Dreamtime excursions, that your spirit is leaving to another dimension. That's what she writes about. And I do agree with her with that. I do. Because we are so busy and we don't take the time to do those Dreamtime intentional, unless you're a practitioner and maybe a shamanic practitioner, and you're doing that travel for other people in service for them, to them. And so we carve out the time to do that. Elise is saying, I have tried to journal, but when they are so intense, I don't remember. I'm always at a place I worked for 19 years, or I am lost somewhere, usually at Amway Corp, where I worked for 12 years. Bizarre. Yeah. Yeah, those nightmares. Anytime I would go back to the state, I mean, even if there wasn't anything scary about it, I would still call that a nightmare because of working for a government is not a pleasant thing. A lot of people do it. There used to be a time when being a civil servant was an honor and was well respected and all of that. No, not in the last 20 years, at least. Maybe even longer than that. So yeah, finding yourself back in a building that you've worked at, and here is I think another fine line, is that in those sleep time dreams where our emotions are being worked out, is where dream interpretation can be very, very helpful. And some of it is kind of like a standard, a standard meaning to something, but many times it's very unique to your dream. and the symbology within the dream. So, for instance, I'm trying to recall. There's so many that popped into my head. Is like which one to take. The building one. I know that when I dream about past employment places, that what I'm working through or working out are issues that surround my work. It's not necessarily the work that I did for the state of Wisconsin, but the work that I'm currently doing, the work, like bookkeeping and doing that end of Star Nations. And the bigger the building, sometimes we don't even know that the building feels familiar, but we might not even know it. It feels like a hotel or it feels like a conference center. The bigger the building is really about, in dream interpretation, is about you personally, your life. So if it's a huge warehouse and there's rooms after rooms after rooms and that kind of thing, that's the symbology of it. I do tomorrow, Elise, I will bring up a book that I have on dream interpretation that is fairly good. And if Terry, if you're still in the house, in the chat, and if you wouldn't mind adding a good resource for dream interpretation, that would be helpful, I think, if you could do that for us. And so, there's certain dreams. It's like, I know there's another one that used to be repetitive. That's the other thing, is that when our emotions are working stuff out in those throwaway dreams, as the Jamie Sams called it, is they're repetitive. So you might end up having the same dream multiple times. It's the way of being able to work those out, your emotions. I used to have one where I would be in a car and there'd be nobody in the driver's seat. I was in the back seat, and knowing that I had to get into the driver's seat. And telling myself I have to crawl over the front seat and I have to get into the driver's seat. Well, all those dreams are about literally taking control of my life. That either I wasn't being active enough in my life to make those kind of decisions, or I was allowing someone else to drive. Yeah. And we would go, if somebody else was actually driving, we would go to some pretty cool places, but it had nothing to do with me. And I would keep trying to get over to where I was supposed to be, and I'd end up someplace else. It's like, and so having to get into the driver's seat myself, right? Hi, Connie. I'm so glad you're here. Glad you could join us. Here, for those people who just joined us, this is the card that was drawn today. It's called Dreamtime, Unlimited Vision. And we were talking about the difference between a sleep time dream and a dreamtime dream. According to Jamie Sams, dreamtime dream is when your spirit travels to a parallel dimension to gather information, to have an experience. The difference between that. Yeah. And so dreamtime, when we're doing it consciously, when we're taking the time to do it consciously, like the man in the image here, he is sitting up, he's in a seated position, he is having his dream time intentionally. Okay? And many times we do this, and for those people who are walking the shamanic path, the medicine path, that we do this consciously. We consciously prepare where we're going to go. It's intentional. We're going to go either to the lower world, middle world, or the upper world, depending on what kind of information we're looking to get. And we work with our power animals and our guides. And so we know that when we travel that way, we're never alone. Never. Even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you know you're doing this unconsciously, you're never alone. Your members of your spiritual team, your guides, your protectors, they go with you. They go with you. So you're never alone. At least even in those nightmares that you say that sleep time is not a pleasant time for you. Even in those times, you're not alone. Never alone. So when you're doing the conscious dream time is when your spirit leaves your body intentionally to go to a specific place to get information specifically. Now, my Misho used to say to me that those places when you go is not a playground. It's not a place where you go to have fun and to hang out, basically. Wasn't his words, but to spend time there. He says you're human in a human body, and you're meant to be here. You can go there, but your experience is here. In other words, he was telling me that you don't go there just to hang out. That's not a place to do that. You go and you get the information and you come back. Yeah. No dawdling, in other words. No dawdling. I do have to say that the parallel universe that is the trickiest to maneuver through, and you have to really be paying attention a lot. I mean, you literally have to be on, saying, okay, that's that. I have to remember that, is when we're traveling in what's called the middle world, which is right here. Because this is where you really have to discern what's going on, because there's tricksters in this dimension, the parallel dimension to the physical world. And so you really have to pay attention to it and ask your guides questions, or ask that, whatever it is, a question. If you have a being standing in front of you and you're thinking, I don't know if I can trust this one, trust your intuition. Ask the question, can you tell me the truth on that? Can you tell me the truth on that? Because there's a universal law that states that when in spirit form, when we're asked for the truth, we must say the truth. So if you ask and you say, can you tell me the truth on that? And they say, no, I can't. Or they don't reply, then you know that is not a truth. And that you're trying to be tricked, And then you also have your guides there. And you can, anytime that you feel vulnerable or afraid, you can just say, get me out of here now. Take me home. Get me out now. And they will. You'll come back. They'll see you back to your body. That's part of their work with you. Those that help you, your guides and your teachers, your power animals. When you travel like that, there's certain ones that are assigned specifically that, and they will get you home. They'll get you back. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle. Rochelle's in the house. So glad you could join us, Rochelle. This is the card that we got today. Dreamtime, Unlimited Vision. Right? There we go. Not much of a glare that way. I really, Jamie Sams is, a lot of this that she writes about in the Dreamtime, I certainly could relate to. She says that the dreamers could use a variety of tools that would allow them to pass through the barriers of time and space and see both realities. There's techniques that aid the dreamer in going into the past or future realities to seek answers needed to effectively heal a patient. She also writes that I think this is Seneca, but I'm not sure. It could be the Choctaw again. They write about something called a carry-over soul, a carry-over soul. And I had to read that a couple of times. And what they're talking about there is what we would call reincarnation or living parallel lives. Now, there are some people that can do this kind of dreamtime travel very easily, very easily. It's almost so easy that it's a natural occurrence, if you know what I mean. It's because they've done it before, many, many lives before. And so they may not call it by the same name. They may, but they do know that when they leave, that they're leaving to another dimension. And they know how to do this. They know how to get there, get back, and remember everything that they saw. And they could be quite young to be able to do this in a chronological age. And that's because they have experience. Their soul has experience in doing this and bringing it forward into this particular lifetime. Yeah. Forward or maybe sideways, if you believe in parallel lives, which I really am leaning more and more toward, rather than having some sort of linear time frame that, are living a past life kind of thing, that our soul is capable of experiencing different lives in different dimensions at the same time. Does that make sense? There's this time thing. So that, if you're one of those people who remember doing this when you were a kid, but you didn't realize that was what that was, chances are that your soul has done this many times before and has a lot of experience in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get caught up with the comments in the chat. Okay, so Elise is saying, thank you, Neshi. Can't wait to see you in September. Looking to booking lodging now. Yay! I can't wait. Thank you, Elise. And Rochelle is saying, when is that, Elise? And it's leaving September 21st. Classes the 22nd and 23rd. Probably going to stay 2 to 3 nights, Rochelle. I'm not getting all of the classes. Actually, I just listed those this week, Rochelle. If you go to look at the events on the main fan page where we're at right now, just go to the events. They're kind of near the top, and I have those listed. And they're also listed at the Academy closed group too. So, and Rochelle is saying, do you know where I can get this info? I just told you. I can also send it to you, Rochelle. And Elise is saying, first time for me to do a solo trip. So excited. Yeah, Rochelle, I can send you the class information through Messenger. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, Michelle, if you can make sure that you probably have already done this, but if you like the Star Nations Magazine Radio Network and Publishing page, that's the main fan page. That's where we're at right now, doing the live stream. If you like it and follow, you'll be able to see all of those listings that are posted. What I post them is as an event. And so they're up near the top, and you can just click on which one you wanted to see, and all the information is there. But in the same token, I can send it to you through the messenger too. Okay, that's not a problem. I probably won't get to it till this evening, but I'll get it to you. Okay. All right. So let's see what Jamie Sams has to say about one other thing here, because I have to You know how we're very aware of our environment, right? We're aware of how energy flows to us, um, and because we're doing these card readings every day, you know, I encourage you to be watchful, to be aware how energy around this kind of information is coming to you today, because that's the intention of the card draw. What's the most important energy for us to know today for the highest good? And so when we're aware of that, we're watching how the day unfolds and how some of this information that we're talking about comes to us. We're either a witness or we're a direct participant, right? And so um, being aware of it. Now, many of us watch for signs, symbols, that kind of thing. And I have to say that this week, many, many times, dragonflies, 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 dragonflies. And not just one, but multiple flying together. You know, I'll walk out the door and they're right there. I was down at the house the other day. I can't remember what day it was. I get out of the car and Paul was showing something to me in the front yard. And I literally just turned around to go back to the house, and I had a dragonfly right here. It's like I couldn't miss it, you know? And so, dragonfly to me, they're magical. They remind me of the fairies and the elementals, right? But they're also a part of the in between, because usually we see a lot of them at either dusk or at dawn, right? And guess what? Jamie writes about dragonflies with this card. She says, the dragonfly is the doorkeeper who allows the gates to the other dimensions to be opened through the breaking of the physical illusion. Let me say that again. The doorkeeper who allows the gates to the other dimensions to be opened through the breaking of physical illusion. Yeah. So that tells me that my guides are encouraging me to do Dreamtime travel, to consciously go. And I haven't done that kind of travel in quite some time. I'll be honest, for myself. I have helped others, but for myself, no, probably not since early 2017 or late 2016, because 2017 was rough for me, and 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 so now I'm being encouraged, I believe, to begin again that kind of travel for information. Allie, Allie, you're here and you're making comments so we can see them. You figured something out, obviously. Allie was having difficulty. She could say hello using the icons, but not actually commenting. But here's her comment. Makes me think of the song learned as a little girl. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. My signs are 1111, yep, and red birds. Then I know the great card for the day. Yes, it is. What was it, Allie? The mystery gets solved of not being, couldn't comment, and now you are, which is great. I'm so glad that you figured it out. Yeah, the thing is that I do believe that our spiritual team, our spiritual helpers, our teachers, our guides, angels, our full team is always communicating with us, whether or not we sit down and have a conversation with them, that they're constantly showing us things. Look over here, look over there. They bring the red birds. They show us the triple numbers. Mine, a lot of triple numbers too. It was my Zoom. I don't know what that is. I don't know your Zoom. Is that the software Zoom that you're talking about for like conferences and that kind of thing? So, yeah, so dragonflies. And it was especially the one that was like right here. And no matter which way I turned, it was doing one of these things, following me, you know? And so I finally put out my hand and it landed on my hand. And I said, okay, I got it. I got the message. I will make time to do the traveling that needs to be done. And so somehow I have to fit that into my day. You know, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, an hour or anything like that. A lot of times, because when you're traveling in spirit, you're beyond time and space, the measurement of that humans do. And so you could be gone for maybe 5 minutes and it feels like you've been gone for a really long time when you get back. But it, you know, I just need to sit down and do it, is what I'm saying. All right. So the application for this card, the application of the Dreamtime card. Here we go. This is what Jamie has to say about the application. She says that you are being asked to see with unlimited vision. Pay attention to the messages you're receiving from a parallel universe. This vision may come in a sleep time dream or through out-of-body journeying in dream time. It will give you the insight that you need at this time. The unlimited vision allows any seeker to pierce the veil of unconsciousness and come to an inner knowing. In all cases, this card marks a time of seeing truth on all levels of creation. You're being given the ability to go beyond the accepted reality. Trust yourself, your allies, and your medicine. So you're going beyond reality. So is that could also be unfold. Watch how it unfolds for you. It could be that something that you believed in, one of those long-held beliefs, either you see it much more clearly and you hold on to it and say, this is a guiding truth for me, or you're going to see it for the reality that means that maybe it isn't a truth for you anymore. And so seeing beyond and trusting your intuition, trusting your guides. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. I like it. How about if we do the poem for the Dreamtime card? Dreamtime card poem. Jamie Sams is a good poet. She says, Dreamtime teaches other realms that exist within the whole. Body double wanders here, solutions for the soul. Touching other sacred space across the Milky Way, traveling to distant stars, connecting night to day. I like that. Across the Milky Way. There's a thing I'm going to start, I think, tomorrow. I was looking at the cards, the whole deck, this morning. The whole deck. Do you remember? This is the bag my mom made. It was actually for tobacco. And I already have 2 tobacco bags. So I turned this one into a bag for my cards. So I was looking at the deck this morning, and there's only like maybe 3 or 4 cards that we haven't gotten out of this whole deck. And I would like to keep going until maybe someday we actually get those 3 or 4 cards that we haven't gotten. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Jamie Sam's other deck, which is the medicine cards. Those are about power animals. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to draw the card from here in the morning, but I'm going to add the animal for the day. What do you think? I think it'd be fun. But more importantly, I think that there's information maybe from spirit that the animals can help us to understand. Yeah? Rochelle, I'm more interested in the shamanic journey in August. Okay, I will send you the information about the shamanic journey in August. And I think were you also interested, Rochelle, in Polly Joe's class in October? Because I can send you those both. Yeah. You're welcome, Elise. Thanks. I'll certainly pass on the hug to my moms, to the mothers, to my mom and to Paul's mom. Yeah. Paul's going to go see his mom today. So I'll send that along with him, okay? Well, with that, I'm so glad you guys are with me. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And please watch how the day unfolds for you and how the information we talked about Dreamtime, how that enters your life, how it unfolds. And remember, just take what resonates with you, what felt good to you, the information we shared, that we talked about, and anything that didn't resonate with you and you just, you're going, what? Huh? I don't think so. That's okay. You can let that go. That wasn't for you. Maybe it was for somebody else, or maybe we're just planting seeds. Who knows? But just take what resonates and see how it unfolds. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, Monday, for the card draw. And I'll say Bama Mina, Potawatomi for it until we see each other again. Have a good day.